All right, do you know what time it is?
It's time to do our Kegels.
It is, and this is the most, in some ways, my favorite part of the show. Because who doesn't want a strong pelvic floor, Twila?
I think I want one, so I'm good.
Exactly. So this is the time of the show when we do our Kegel exercises. It's so easy. It's so simple and can be so effective and life-changing.
That's right.
And so we are going to go over the customized GynoCast world-renowned regimen.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
3
times a day.
6
days a week.
9
seconds per Kegel exercise.
and 12.
Kegels in a row to make a rep. It's so simple. All you have to do is do 12 in a row, 3 times a day, 6 days a week, and hold them for 9 seconds. You will have a pelvic floor like a chain link fence. You will be able to pull a trailer with it. You will be the envy of your neighbors.
I think you will be, that's for sure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GynoCast. My name is Dr. Eric Heegaard, board-certified obstetrician gynecologist. I am here with Twila Day.
Hello.
Wing woman.
Yeah, wing woman. That's good.
My boss, my friend. And you know what we're going to talk about today, Twila?
Yeah, what are we going to talk about today?
You don't know, do you?
No, Eric, I don't. And you know how I feel about not being in the loop.
I know, it drives you crazy. So this
Yes.
is my favorite kind of show to do, which is I'm taking advantage of Twila's good nature, and we're going to play a game. We're going to play a game with Twila and me.
Okay.
And so let me just kind of set the stage here.
Mm-hmm.
So most of us have heard of Benjamin Franklin, if you're in the United States.
Yes.
Grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us have heard of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Lewis and Clark, for example, right?
Uh-huh. Lots of old white guys. Where are you going with that?
You got it. Lots of old white guys. And so fewer, let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of Dr. Livingston?
I think so.
Yeah, and most of it, if in Western history, most of us have maybe heard of Dr. Livingston, I presume. That's
Yeah.
The guy was obsessively concerned with finding the Nile, the source of the Nile in Africa.
Right.
Now, fewer people know about Harriet Chalmer Adams. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Harriet Chalmer Adams?
I would if I knew who that was.
Exactly. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about interesting women in history who we should know about, but we don't. And so I'm going to ask you about these women, and you're going to tell me what you know about them. And I will tell you, before I can see you start to groan here.
Because this feels like it's going to be a whole 40 minutes of me looking stupid on recording. And
This
you
is
know
what's
how I feel
great. You
about
can't
that.
look stupid because,
Uh-huh.
well, let me tell you this. I don't know who they are either.
Okay, good.
And so I'm going to just ask you if you've ever heard of them, then I'm going to tell you what they've done.
Okay.
And because these are fantastic, fascinating, powerful women that we've never heard about. And why is it that we don't know about these women? Why is it, Twila?
Because women's stories aren't told.
Right. And because history is written by, at least in the Western...
History is usually written by those sitting in power. And traditionally, up until this very recent point in our history, the power has been solely placed in the hands of men, and most often white men.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we got it off our chest now.
There you go.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
You look tense. Just relax.
I'm always tense. You're literally about to give me a quiz that at some point my children can download and point at how their mother did not know things when I think I know everything.
Listen, if you could find one person in 1,000, let's say, well, maybe not, one person in 100 who knows one of these women, let's say 1 in 100 knows one of them.
Okay.
1 in 1,000 would know 2.
Okay.
And so I'm not trying to,
No.
But you've got strong shoulders. You've got a good ego. You can handle it.
Sure. Why not?
Okay, so this one I actually had heard the name of, but I couldn't tell you who it was. All right, you ready?
Sure.
Ida B. Wells. Who is Ida B.
I mean,
Wells?
I know that name.
Right. Anybody in the studio audience? Anybody out there? Raise your hand. Okay, so this is Ida B. Wells. She was born a slave in Mississippi in 1862. She became basically everything that a person could be. A civil rights reformer, a fearless investigative journalist, and a serious badass. Badass. I can say that, can I?
Yeah.
We're on podcast.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
I got you.
Who took on race hatred head on by writing openly about America's lynching as a way to control African American people. She faced death threats, mobs, exclusion by other women's rights activists, which is kind of interesting, and widespread disbelief about the truth of her lynching reports. Even when she went around the world lecturing about it, She even refused to give up a spot on a white woman's train car 71 years before Rosa Parks.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, we're impressive. So.
Well, I know. And this was all, it's, life is hard, period. And this was 150 years ago. And it's amazing that she lived a long and basically healthy life without being killed.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're resourceful.
Yeah, that's right.
Protect your neck.
Okay. So, number 2. You ready?
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
Do you want to drink a little water?
No, I'm good. I got you.
Harriet Chalmer Adams.
Okay, you already said that, but I don't know who she is.
Harriet Chalmer Adams. Anybody out there?
Stop asking if anybody out there knows. You know ain't nobody out there going to answer you right now.
This is great. You're going to love this, Twila. She's essentially the first woman to professionally wear a pith helmet.
And that is?
I know. I'm not exactly sure what the actual definition of a pith helmet is, except it's what Dr. Stanley Livingston.
Hold on. No, now we're going to have to.
No, his name wasn't Stanley
Livingston.
No,
how do you spell pith?
P-I-T-H. David Livingston. If you were an explorer in the 19th century, you wore a pith helmet, whether you needed to or not.
You can buy them on Amazon.
What is the?
It's basically those like hard rounded.
Yeah, with a little kind of slee stack sort of ridge in the middle.
Yeah. It's a lightweight sun helmet made from the dried pith of the sola or similar tropical plant.
Huh. And it's supposed to, I suppose, protect the head.
I think so.
So she explored everything she could think of, despite being alive at a time.
So
basically, 19th century.
So she's basically like a real life female Indiana Jones.
Right.
Okay.
Right. 1875 to 1937, when women were supposed to sit still, drink tea, and faint at uncouth things.
Okay.
Have you ever fainted at an uncouth thing?
No.
Have you? What is the word? Is that when you become apoplectic? Is that the word for that? When you kind of go?
No, that's when you're about to. That's when you're about to freak out. Apoplectic is like my head's gonna explode because I'm so mad right now.
And do you collapse in apoplexy? Is that?
I mean, some people do. I don't.
You don't when you.
No, I usually start swinging a bat. Usually at that point.
Okay.
It's usually what happens.
So, everybody step back. Twila's getting apoplectic.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. What does apoplectic mean?
And they're like, I don't know, but
who cares? She's got a bat.
Exactly.
So she wrote for National Geographic about huge swaths of South African countries she explored and helped others, and helped found the Society of Women Geographers.
Okay.
And when she wasn't doing awesome things like climbing the Andes on horseback, she was the only female journalist let into the trenches during World War I.
Oh. Huh.
Badass.
Indeed.
With a pith helmet.
With a pith helmet.
I could see you with a pith helmet and a bat.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's out of the range of possibility.
All right, number 3. Hojo Masako.
Nope.
Hojo Masako. Known as the nun shogun. Hojo Masako was a hugely powerful figure in the warrior government of Japan.
So you're going to have to forward me this?
Why?
Because I don't know how to spell any of these names for the syllabus.
Okay. Just the way they sound. Born in 1156, she took the veil of a nun after her husband, the shogun's death, but still managed to maintain a strong stranglehold over the ridiculously shady workings of Japanese rule. These included possibly conspiring over the death of her unreliable eldest son, of course.
Well,
the ousting of her father in favor of her brother, and other twists tailor-made for a film epic.
Oh, okay.
So, Hojo Masako.
Okay.
All right. At the end, we're gonna have a quiz.
No, you're not.
Isabella Lucy Bird. Isabella Lucy.
I've heard that
Bird.
before. I don't remember where.
Isabella Lucy Bird was a ridiculously religious woman. What other daughter of a Victorian clergyman survives a tumor on her spine and promptly decides to travel the world, have a serious romantic affair with Wild Jim Nugent, probably related to Ted Nugent?
Let's hope not.
I'm actually thinking in the Rocky Mountains, Wild Jim Nugent.
Okay.
Now, is that a guy you'd want to go out and have
Don't say that at the turn of the century. He might have been everything.
He probably had long hair and a robust, gorgeous beard.
Well,
and
listen, I always had a thing for dirty white boys, so not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I'm sure they were. Wild Jim, I'm sure, would fit the deal. I bet you he hadn't bathed in 6 months. He
probably. He embodied a spirit of adventure.
That's right.
That's it.
Wild Jim Nugent in the Rocky Mountains and visited everywhere from Vietnam to Hawaii. She had about 14 lives in one, traveling with British soldiers in Tehran. Oh,
wow.
my goodness.
Wow.
And training as a doctor as an afterthought. Why don't I become a doctor?
Yeah, no kidding.
Wild Jim, what do you think? Should I become a doctor?
She had already gotten rid of Wild Jim by then.
Yeah.
That was a dalliance.
Yeah, that was. I would think.
Some people are a reason. Some people are a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
What is the thing about bad boys, Twila? What is it?
They're fun.
Yeah.
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 They don't have it. They don't listen. Most women live under a ridiculous set of social norms and constructs that police our everyday activity, thoughts, and in every other aspect of our lives.
That's
we
right.
live under a very specific blanket of how we are supposed to conduct ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And bad boys as a concept just buck up against that because they don't actually follow any rules.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go from sun up to sundown following every minute rule that there is, when there is a clear path to somebody that says, "Oh, I'll follow rules. You don't have to follow them either. Just come hang out with me." You're like, that seems really advantageous. Now, it's not usually good in the long term because there are some rules we actually enjoy conforming to, or they actually help bring structure and order to our lives, like not breaking laws and doing things that get you arrested, or things that don't get that don't make your parents stop speaking to you or cut you off, things like that. So yeah.
So, but have you listened to or watched the Outlander series? Have you read it at all?
Yes, you have a thing about this. It's the third time you brought this up.
I love that series. Oh my God! But the hygiene of these people, it just makes you.
But it's like that's like the what is it the
I suppose if everybody smelled like that.
Like that.
What's that?
Wasn't it the 15th or 16th century?
It's in the 1700s, so 18th century.
Okay, so that's you can't overlay today's standard on that standard.
Yeah, I guess
you just can't because it's completely foreign as a concept.
I guess if you think about the fact, the point I was making is that can you believe people actually reproduced
completely?
But well, obviously it has happened. But I'm just thinking to myself, as the author of Outlander,
right?
Diana Gabaldon, I think it's pronounced Gabaldon, describes these people as just they never bathed ever. And had they
bathe. She just doesn't discuss it in the.
They don't, but a lot of them, like Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, right? Supposedly never bathed in his adult life.
Well, that doesn't surprise
me. He thought, why?
Because he's young and rich and got to dictate the rules. What child king is going to bathe?
Yeah, but how about at 50 years old? And he never bathed. And he thought, and people would watch him, and she actually describes this in the book, right?
Yeah.
And I've heard this before, is that in the morning he would get up, right, and his servants would come and get him up out of his robe, and he would go sit on the toilet. He'd sit on the toilet with all the noblemen around him.
Of course.
Watching him go to the bathroom. And if you were one of the lucky people, you got to wipe his butt.
Well, then he had things taken care of because that was the hierarchy. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying that it was what it was.
Yeah, and that was considered the cat's meow,
right?
Twila.
But because
I got to wipe the queen's the king's butt
because it changed your station. If you were in that room, it's like when you go see the Hamilton musical and they're like, you got to be in the room where it happens. That's the room where it happens.
But I'm just how have we got? We've gotten off.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying,
you started this.
But I'm just saying that it is Wild Jim. I have a feeling kind of was crusty.
He
probably came out and he was like a pheromone with legs.
No, you can't necessarily say that because Wild Jim also probably lived next to like natural streams and rivers and was probably like fishing and stuff and regularly submerging himself in water. So
yeah, water works really well.
Listen, it works better than nothing.
Yeah. So he got some ashes and some lime. Isn't that what they use? Lime, not lime like the citrus, but lime as the mineral.
Yeah.
Mix that up together and scrubbed. And I bet Wild Jim would come down and
why are we still talking about Wild
Isabel
Jim?
Lucy Bird would take a sniff.
Listen,
her nostrils would flare. She'd be like, Wild Jim.
I already told you, Wild Jim was not. He was literally like a reason or a season. He was not a lifetime. She had a mountain dalliance, and then she went on about her exploring life. So good on her.
All right, so she had 14 lives, we said, traveling with British soldiers in Tehran and training as a doctor as an afterthought.
Why don't you ever get that now?
How much do you charge? Well, I charge 25% what the normal physician does, but really medicine is just an afterthought for me, so you get what you pay
So
for.
she didn't even charge you. She basically was just like, it's a skill I picked up.
That's
so
right.
what's wrong with you? Come on, we'll operate on that real quick.
She used a ladder gifted to her by Morocco's sultan to mount her horse.
Okay.
And wrote 18 volumes of observations. She didn't really, I assume not on her horse, but observations.
I want to read the
of her life.
books.
I know.
Where are the volumes?
Well, good question. Let's write that. We'll talk about them volume by volume.
I want to go find that out because that's.
Okay, so the thing about the bad boy thing, I almost feel like I want to do a show on that.
Okay.
Why did but I can understand that, but like I always had this kind of nightmarish thought of my daughter. This is
you did. You're
getting
dad.
on the back of a motorcycle with with putting her arms around this guy with a leather jacket and chaps, and him turning around and saying, "Can I call you Dad? Do you mind if I call you Dad?"
What?
As she goes away and reproduces with this knuckle dragger.
Why would he call her Dad?
Call me Dad.
Oh,
like, hey, see you later. Do you mind if I call you Dad?
Oh, I get it.
I'll bring her back after she's delivered.
Okay, well,
that's like every.
Listen, every dad has that nightmare, and I can almost guarantee you that every girl has dipped her toe in that pond. Every girl.
Oh dear.
We just have.
Twila.
We have to.
Twila. I suppose that's true. All right, Annie Edison Taylor. Annie Edison Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any thoughts on Annie Edison Taylor?
Don't know who that is.
She wasn't an explorer or an heiress, or even particularly brave. Well, I disagree with this. She was just a woman who decided to do something nobody had ever done before. On her 63rd birthday, Twila, and I remember you when you turned 40. You said, you are happy to be 40. You're excited. You feel
I just
good.
turned 44.
I know.
Like last week. No joke.
Okay. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Well, so this goes to, in 20 years from now, you can do what Annie Edison Taylor did.
Okay.
She became the first person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel.
Yeah, no, we don't have to do that. That's no, hon.
In
Good
which she'd been packed with her lucky pillows.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know if is that bravery or is that madness? I think it's.
I feel like that was a. You know what? We all got to go sometime. I might as well. That was a what the hell.
Yeah,
that was really a what the hell. That was probably like she wanted to do that her whole life. She saw people, she knew people that had done it, and was like,
no, nobody else had done it before.
Okay, then no, I don't know. That's madness. No thanks.
And she did it to make money.
Oh well, she made money.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, bless you.
Excuse me, Twila.
Hold on, I'll do an air check on that.
Whew, I couldn't stop it. I tried to.
No problem. Keep going.
So she did it to make money, but the publicity didn't last.
Yeah,
wouldn't that suck?
Yeah,
you decide, hey, you know what? Things are kind of tough. It's either kind of make or break. I'm going to jump off this building with a big coat and see if I can float down.
But I'm sure this was probably transformational money. This wasn't just like, oh, I could have just like made the same money if I was knitting sweaters. This is probably like now you're a millionaire money, and then you're just like,
well, maybe
if I survive, yeah, that's good. I can deal with that. Yeah. Did she survive? Does this say?
She did survive.
Okay, I was about to say, did she survive like, or was she like super disabled or something afterwards?
I don't know.
Like, did she hop over and she survived, but like her legs don't work anymore? Because I'm just saying that's Niagara Falls. You went all the way over.
She survived to live on, but she died in obscurity. And you know what's bad? The barrel was lost after her manager stole it.
See?
Stole her barrel.
Dudes.
It's like taking Superman's cape.
Dudes.
Or Batman's leather chaps. You just don't do that.
I'm not going to comic book nerd right now. Move on. It's okay.
All right, number 6. You ready? Nellie Bly.
Wasn't she like a cowboy?
I don't know why I'm laughing. You crack me up. Okay, Nellie Bly.
Wasn't she like a cowgirl or something?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I had no idea.
Nice try.
I know the name. I just don't know what she does.
Yeah. Nellie Bly was arguably the world's first immersion journalist, and she made Tin look like a complete loser.
Okay.
Tell me about Tin.
Okay, you know why I know Tintin?
You do know because I
I
know
only
the
know
name.
a little. I only know a little bit about Tintin because in Europe and particularly in in Asian countries,
a dog or something. Isn't there a dog involved?
No, it's a character. He's it's a guy who's a reporter.
Oh.
And it's a cartoon. It's a really well known cartoon that has spanned 40 or 50 years.
Is it still going?
Yeah, it still goes. I think more just reproductions. But my whole in-laws, all my in-laws are from Vietnam, and they grew up reading Tintin in the papers and stuff. That's their jam. And a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, they made a Hollywood movie, an introductory movie that was supposed to be a series. It was an animated movie about Tintin, and my whole family dragged us to go see it. We had to
Was
go
it
see
good?
that. It was just okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, for people who grew up with it, it was
Big
wow, they loved it. I had never really been exposed to it before, but they
It was a big deal.
yeah, it was really, so I did actually, strangely enough, I do know Tintin.
The breadth and depth of your knowledge about things
well,
astonishes me.
listen, this isn't helping because the one thing I don't seem to know about today is women, and
It's
I'm
the
not happy about that.
So what is Rin Tin Tin the
It's
same
a
thing as
dog.
Tintin?
No, that's a dog.
It's a dog.
Yeah.
So Tintin and Rin Tin.
Rin Tintin was the dog from the books and the TV series.
Okay, so completely different things.
Yeah, completely.
So listeners, don't confuse those things.
Just
and
go look
embarrass
them both
yourself.
up. They're different. They're all right.
So Nellie Bly, she did a circumnavigation of the world in 72 days, Twila, just to see if Jules Verne's 80-day limit could possibly be achieved in real life. But the feat for which she's mostly remembered is her terrifying investigation into the conditions in mental hospitals. This is actually pretty amazing. 10 days in a madhouse.
Oh, wow.
For which she pretended to be insane and had herself committed. That sounds not only that sounds dangerous.
Especially then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially then. And the conditions in psychiatric hospitals were horrible. And so I that's just when I read this, I couldn't believe it because that would it could be physically dangerous as well as being obviously emotionally and psychiatrically dangerous. She almost as a sideline, this is kind of interesting. She married a 73-year-old millionaire at the age of 31. What does that have to?
So
he
in
must have
other
been
words,
something.
Nellie Bly knows how to secure the bag. Thank you very much.
Secure the bag. What does that mean?
It means get your money.
Oh.
Make sure you have your financial house in order. Have your financial security set.
All right.
A lot of days when we talk about securing the bag, it's if you're in entertainment and you get your big payday, that's you secure the bag.
Secure the bag.
A
Where does
lot
that
of
come from,
women-
though?
Oh, that's slang term. I'm not
Bag, like a handbag?
No, the money bag.
The money bag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Secure the bag.
Yeah.
So she married him at the age of 31 and patented several inventions, including the modern milk can.
Oh.
Huh. Where do you keep your modern milk can, Twila?
Don't drink milk.
I guess that's true. But even if you did, you don't have a can. I can almost guarantee.
Yeah, no, not anymore. We don't.
Support for the GynoCast is provided by OBGYN West. OBGYN West provides the highest quality care from compassionate providers, including women's health issues from general sexual health to pregnancy care, childbirth, menopause, and beyond. Whether it's your teen's first annual exam, a new baby's on the way, or you're facing the special challenges of middle age, OBGYN West provides a wide array of services. Their doctors and PAs are trained in virtually every type of OBGYN service and procedure. OBGYN West provides exceptional care for women.
Number 7, Hatshepsut.
What? What?
Hatshepsut.
Okay,
You take
stop.
out that garbage and
Okay.
clean your room.
Okay, stop that. You actually have to go back and say that slowly with actual.
I can only do it one time. Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. That's a name that you'd be
Spell that.
you'd be the only one in class, I can tell you, in kindergarten with that name, I
You
think.
literally have to spell that.
You want me to spell right now?
The last name, at least.
She doesn't have a last name. She's like Sting.
That's all one name?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know.
H-A-T
Mm-hmm.
S-H-E-P-S-U-T. Hatshepsut.
Okay, thank you.
She didn't need a last name.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, though.
She was an Egyptian queen. Hatshepsut.
Okay.
Hatshepsut.
Stop saying it.
Let's just call her Queen H.
Okay, that's
Queen
fine.
H, was the outright ruler of Egypt for 22 years in the 18th dynasty and was really good at it. How do you like that? That's how she's known. Queen H, you are queen, and not only are you queen, but you're really good at it.
There you
That would
go.
make me feel good. Making Egypt peaceful and highly prosperous. She built amazing temples to herself everywhere
I would.
and prevented a civil war, all while having to wear a false beard.
Oh, so she had to pretend to be a dude
Yeah.
the whole time?
Yeah. After her, a dude.
Well,
After her
because
death,
listen, she wasn't thinking like I'm going to pretend to be a man. She was literally probably thinking, that they only deal with dudes, so I'm just put this beard on,
That's right.
pretend to be a dude for a couple hours, and then we'll get back to my glory when they leave.
That's right.
So,
After her death, somebody tried to erase all her names and achievements from her buildings.
of course
Isn't
they
that
did.
true?
Of course they did.
Possibly because a woman being a king was seen as offensive,
A woman.
but it did not work.
We have women kings today. I'm okay with that.
Jean Barre, or Barre, or Jean, I think it's Jean, perhaps, Jeanne, last name Bare. I think it seems like it'd be French. Jean Barre,
Okay.
or Jean Barre, like Roseanne Barre.
No, let's not do that.
Jean Barre was a thoroughly enigmatic figure in more ways than just one, Twila.
Mm-hmm.
A French orphan. That's always a good start to a story. A French orphan.
Oh, yeah.
She was the first woman to circumnavigate the globe by boat, and she did it while dressed as a man, of course.
Of course.
Because she was on board as an assistant to her lover, Twila, the splendidly named widowed naturalist Philbert Commerson.
I don't really care about the dudes in these stories. You know that, right?
I just love the splendidly named naturalist
Splendidly named.
Philbert Commerson. The two traveled together happily, botanizing their way through Mauritius.
What are you doing?
Mauritius. I would think it'd be Mauritania, but that's what it's spelled. Tahiti, Madagascar, and other exotic climes, discovering bougainvillea. I like bougainvillea. I don't know about you. It's a lovely flower
Sure.
along the way. After the splendid naturalist Philbert Commerson's tragic death, she married an officer, came back to France, and was given a pension by the government to this, in quotation marks, to this extraordinary woman.
Okay.
The French sometimes come through. Maria Tallchief, or Tallchief. Maria Tallchief. Any idea who that is?
You sure it's tall chief and not tall chief?
It could be Tallchief.
I'm just saying, is she native?
No.
Okay.
She apparently, this woman just died. 88 years old. She died in 2013. She was America's very first prima ballerina.
Oh.
The star of George Balanchine's famous New York City Ballet and the first famous Native American ballerina. Okay?
See, so she probably is tall
It
chief.
is Tallchief, not
Mhm.
Tallchief. After hideous discrimination as a child,
Of course.
that led her to contract her full name, Tallchief. Oh, right. Twila, how did I dare question you? Contract her full name, Tallchief, into one word, Tallchief. She became hugely beloved ballet star, but her personal life was dramatic. Balchin, 21 years older, asked her to marry him when she was 21, but 8 years later had the marriage annulled.
Well, that's
People just have
but that's-
tumultuous lives.
well, no, that's that weird like when when a creative person like finds a muse, and instead of just letting that remain that kind of a relationship, it disintegrates into like this romantic thing, which really you're just overlaying something or projecting something onto it that you just never need to do. Have you seen Phantom Thread?
No. What is that
Prime
about?
example.
What is that?
It's the movie. It was an Academy Award nominee this year. It's Daniel Day-Lewis's, according to him, his last movie. He's not going to make any more movies.
All right, he's done.
But he is a like a world-renowned fashion designer, like top of the class fashion designer, and
Yeah.
and he basically becomes obsessed with this woman. Like she becomes his muse, and they, of course, it can't just stay like you inspire me to make great art. It's like I love you. We have to be together.
Yeah,
But
it has to be
he's
ownership.
right. But he's super messed up, and ultimately he super messes her up, and then they kind of mess each other up, and it's like the levels on that movie are just like hot diggity dog.
Was he the actor in The Unbearable Lightness of Being?
No.
Who's
he was
that
the guy from There Will Be Blood.
That would be.
You know, I Will Drink Your Milkshake.
No, I have no.
You
idea
never
what
seen
you're-
that?
No, what is that?
Oh,
Where's
he
that
was in from There Will Be Blood.
Are you not? Are you sure he wasn't in The Unbearable Lightness of Being?
Pretty sure that wasn't him, but I don't. I mean,
But he was screwed up somebody else in that movie too.
yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
So Alexandra David Neal hyphen
Oh, okay.
David hyphen Neal. Alexandra David hyphen Neal.
Okay.
She was another woman who seemed to combine 7 or so lives into one. The Belgian aristocrat, born in 1868, who trained as a prima donna, wrote an anarchist treatise so alarming that publishers refused to touch it, and traveled repeatedly to India and surrounding areas, including Tibet, during the period in its history when it was closed to foreigners. This, to put it into some context, was kind of impossible. She befriended and possibly seduced, oh my goodness, the Sikkim Maharaja, and then adopted a young monk, Apur Yongden. Why not?
Oh, okay.
Seduce the Maharaja and adopt a young monk.
Okay.
Just another day in the life. Who would be her traveling companion throughout Tibet and Japan. In her memoirs, she recounted saving Yongden from a blizzard by hugging him and artificially
okay.
raising her body temperature through meditation.
Oh. Huh.
That's interesting.
I mean, yeah.
And you got to be you got to be able to, reach a breathless state in meditation, Twila, to be able to have that kind of control over your body temperature. I'm just letting you know, and that's some heavy.
That just feels like
stuff.
too much work for me. I'm just gonna put on a sweater.
Yeah, turn on the heater.
That's just sorry, y'all.
We can either turn on the electric heat, or I can raise my body temperature through meditation.
You're like just just give me a minute. I'm gonna go up 3 degrees in like 5 minutes.
Radiant heat. All right, Empress Theodora. Empress Theodora. Yeah. The Byzantine Empress Theodora, wife of Justinian, is mostly famous because early historians were pretty convinced that before she was a queen, she'd been a prostitute. Good for her.
Well, listen.
Upwardly mobile.
You're allowed to have a come up.
Yeah, why not?
Live your best
Aren't we all entitled to reinvent ourselves?
It's not where you start, it's where you end.
Yeah, there you go. If that was true of
Sorry. That was
if it was an epic tale of a woman raising herself above circumstance, that is absolutely true because Byzantium was ridiculously pious.
There you go.
And the emperor was head of the church. You got to say that if you look over history, that never seemed to stop much in terms of anywhere in the world, whether you were religious or not, or even to this day.
Yeah, no.
Many religious people tend to engage in behavior that may sometimes be seen as not.
Yeah, we're not
going there.
Yeah,
don't.
I'll just get fired up.
Twila, don't go there.
Hypocrites.
I'm gonna pull you back in.
Yep. Okay.
So, and the emperor was the head of the church. It's more likely, however, that she was an actress or otherwise low-born, and her enemies conspired to make her seem hypocritical and lustful with a dark past. So don't you love this? And this goes on forever, right?
Yeah.
You take a powerful woman and you tear her down.
Yep.
You create stories about.
Well, this is a script and sort of a playbook that is old as time itself.
Right.
If you want to discredit a woman, discredit her, her purity on some level.
Yeah.
And that's all
Make
you need
her seem to
do.
be sexually.
But that's 1,000% true.
Yeah.
We don't, because we've never had a point in time where women have had complete control over their own sexual agency. Anytime you want to discredit a woman, even to this very minute, if you want to discredit a woman, all you have to say is you think she's too free with her body. You think she's too sexual. You think she's too provocative. Those are immediate buzzwords that connect in all the socialization we've ever been given to say that she is now not only less than, but less than, and we shouldn't be attempting to engage.
Yeah, and it's amazing that the flip side is that men seem to be able to walk away from the same. You can be a powerful man and engage in activities,
you can be
dalliances, etc.
Well, you can be Warren Beatty and be glorified for.
Yeah.
Having a lifelong span of multiple romances and conquests.
Yeah.
You can be Wilt Chamberlain and write a book about the quote-unquote 10,000 women you slept with, and nobody bats an eyelash. But if you were, if you're the aforementioned and in the news quite a bit now, Stormy Daniels, that's that's a completely different paradigm. And it's like,
right.
What's
nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
The genuine shift in paradigm is that Wilt Chamberlain slept with all those women for free, and she may have slept with people to get paid.
Yeah.
So there's, you can't have having that wide of a chasm of, sort of double standard is outrageous, but it is also what we have dealt with for essentially now centuries.
And this, this is a conversation for another day, but I always kind of find this, I'm going to just dip my toe in the water here a little bit, which is, you can, it can be perfectly acceptable for a 70-year-old millionaire to marry this 31-year-old, woman that we talked about before.
Yeah.
And that's, and she get, with the arrangements all set in place, right? That's perfectly acceptable, but a woman can't negotiate those things outside the parameters of a legal arrangement, meaning marriage, without being illegal. And so I think I know there's strong feelings about that arena, that topic. But for me, it's a woman's rights thing. A woman should be able to control her body. Absolutely. In my opinion.
1,000%.
And, why is it that it's, she can say, okay, well, I will go into a legal arrangement with some 90-year-old billionaire, and that's okay. But I can't make an arrangement outside that without it being illegal. It's baloney. Now, you don't want people to be exploited,
right.
But you can't tell me that somebody making $10 an hour working at McDonald's at 2:00 in the morning, just slogging away. That's not some sort of exploitation. And
there's a whole conversation to be had about the notion of what we understand is of what we've never really discussed as a collective is what the nature of sex work really is, and that there actually is an industry of sex work versus an industry that sometimes runs right alongside it of exploitation, and that if we were actually to sit down and unpack and explore some of this, that there may be better protections and better understandings and things that could be put in place so that if this is a path you choose, because the thing that nobody really discusses is that many people choose this path and it's not out of desperation. They choose it because this is the industry they want to work in. And that should be treated and structured and looked at and examined the same way we examine any other form of work. What motivates people to go into it, what makes it a safe working environment, how you can make it a safe working environment. If that's the case, then we should have that discussion. Right now, it's all in one collective soup of like us being afraid to talk about sex on any level, so we don't deal with it.
Exactly. And so you can take a woman. You can take a woman and send her into a coal mine, right, as a miner. Mm-hmm. And there's all these incredibly dangerous jobs, and that's not exploitation. But if she chooses as an adult to engage in sex work, that's exploitation,
right?
Where she can make whatever, huge amounts of money, but it's okay for her to go and engage in, the riskiest legal endeavor, and that's not exploitation. Paying somebody $10 an hour to work and slog away for hours and hours and hours at McDonald's at 3:00. I have nothing against McDonald's,
don't worry,
except that they changed the recipe for their fries. Okay. They used to use lard.
Still cutting all that out.
You're cutting out? No, you can't cut that out.
Because we can't. Listen, they're litigious. They're going to sue me.
that I don't like their. I still like their fries.
You can't say you don't like things. You never know.
I love their fries. Okay, they just used to be better.
Sidebar. This is the one. This is the one thing from radio that actually came back to bite me, and I learned a valuable lesson. I'll never do it again. So I was on radio like years ago, and I made a joke over the air, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 50,000 listeners, and I made a joke about another fast food chain, and it was really a joke. I eat there all the time, but it was a joke. And my boss sent me an email, was like, we do not talk about sponsors, potential sponsors, or brand partners. And I was like, we do something with them right now? And she's like, not the point. Don't do it. And I was like, and back then I didn't get it because I was just like, it's just a joke. But now I get it. I own a business. And if at some point that particular company wants to come and deal with me, and they Google us or they search us and they hear us on any level, like downgrading them, then it's like, man, you mess with my money. Don't mess. I'm trying to secure the bag.
Let me just rephrase that. I used McDonald's because it just popped into my mind.
I know.
I love McDonald's. I know I can name the meals without even thinking about it.
Right.
Their fries are fantastic. They used to be better with lard or whatever they use. I think it was,
it's proprietary. We can't. It's proprietary.
But there was a whole Twila. There's a whole podcast about McDonald's fries.
I know.
And
I used to listen to that podcast. French fries are like the only thing left at most fast food establishments that I can engage in, and not even all of them because some of them.
Yeah, you wouldn't like that.
They use the same fry. I haven't had any food of theirs in probably 6 years. I had to stop eating. It was a health thing for me. But yeah.
Are we cutting all this out?
Yeah, totally. Don't worry, totally. So yeah, but no, that's. I mean,
Okay.
that's my.
So now I don't even know where we started. Okay, we were talking about exploitation.
Right.
I think that why is it we define exploitation in a certain way, and it has to do with women's bodies and sexuality. And again, I don't. You have to be careful about exploitation of especially minors, et cetera, et cetera. But adults should be able to engage in behaviors with their bodies, as long as they don't hurt other people. It's consensual, blah, blah. Anyway, this is a story for another day.
There you go.
Anyway, so Empress Theodora,
Mm-hmm.
they said she was a prostitute, but she was more likely an actress or otherwise lowborn. That's not very nice. I don't like that idea. I hate those kind of. It's like saying somebody's trailer trash. I hate that.
Well, I have a question. Why is whoever wrote this article so quick to be like, no, she probably wasn't a prostitute?
I don't know.
I mean, because if she was, that's what she was, and obviously she didn't have a problem with it. She moved her station up in life, so it almost feels like that's. I think that's a part of that sort of sexist narrative, which is we tell the story, but we don't want it to seem colored by the idea that she might have done sex work. So it's like, no, she probably wasn't really a prostitute. They just say that, but if she was, and it didn't end tragically, I think it's okay to say that that's where she started.
Yeah. Since all evidence points to the fact that she was actually an effective and just leader.
As women tend to be.
Yes. Okay. And this is a mouthful.
Okay.
Annie Londonderry Cohen Kopchovsky.
Seriously.
Annie Londonderry Cohen Kopchovsky. Not someone that I haven't had that name crop up in quite a while.
Yeah, no.
This is the sort of story that would make for an excellent, lighthearted Maggie Gyllenhaal flick. And in Gyllenhaal. Some people pronounce it the way.
No, they don't.
Some people who don't know anything pronounce it the way. Annie Londonderry Cohen Kopchovsky was the first woman to cycle around the world. Huh? What do you think of that?
How'd she do that?
And she was a vegan.
How'd she do that?
No, I'm just kidding. She wasn't a
No,
vegan.
I mean, how'd she bike around the world?
On a bicycle.
I mean, but...
Oh, you mean like how did she get across the ocean?
How'd she do that? Like, how did they judge that? So it was like, okay, it counts.
Okay, I don't know. You're asking details that just are not warranted.
If she went on the steamer boat and she just kept riding the bike around the boat until it got to the next destination.
Until it got to lunchtime.
And it was like, okay.
Boy, the buffet lunch starts at 11:30. I'll stop then. And she did it for a bet. Two gentlemen in Boston laid a wager in 1895 over whether a woman could take care of herself. Really?
She shouldn't have taken that bet. She should have just punched him and kept going.
Yeah. According to her, they gave her 15 months, and despite never riding a bicycle before, she set off in the wrong direction.
It's not really that hard to ride a bike.
It's more likely that it was an advertising stunt, since Cohen was also a journalist and was paid to carry placards with pictures of spring water.
Oh, well, listen, she's just an entrepreneur.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not mad at her at all. You know what,
Yeah, that's
Annie?
right.
Annie, you're my new everything today.
You
because
go, girl.
You found a way to get you basically became a travel blogger before travel blogging was
That's
a thing.
right. But she definitely made it around the world in a lot of time. They don't say how they know that she definitely did, but she did.
Okay.
She called herself the New Woman, but her notoriety soon faded.
She was a travel blogger before travel
You know,
blogging began.
And it's about time she was brought back. I agree.
I agree.
All right, that's all we got for now, Twila.
Okay.
That was fun. Now we have new people to talk about, new things to refer to.
True.
And I think that we should now refer to anybody who travels on a bicyclist as an Annie Londonderry Cohen Kopchowski type.
I'm just going to call her an Annie.
An
I'll
Annie.
be done with it. I'm good with it.
All right. So thank you all for listening. If you should become a member of the GynoCast Facebook group.
Yes, go to Facebook and go to the GynoCast page. You have to request to be a member. It's a private group.
Very private.
But if you request to be a member, we will let you in after we vetted you. And we have conversations that are based on the things we talk about on the podcast. We also have an open forum where people have questions and they have discussion, and we provide support for each other. And it is a place that we're really proud of, and we want you to be a part of that. Don't forget, you can go to the website, matriarchdm.com. We have a show page there. You can listen to past episodes. You can actually email the show now. We have a bright, shiny new email, hello@matriarchdm.com.
It's so friendly.
Yeah, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can let us know what you're thinking. You can suggest show topics, all other kinds of good things. In the meantime, we do this because of your support and because you listen to the show, and we really appreciate it.
That's right. Thank you for listening. See you soon. Thank you, Twila.